So now, having shared those examples of the inner strength and centeredness implementation, I'd like to return to the metacognitive skill, which is about developing our detached observer, about observing our thoughts and feelings, not thinking about the thoughts and feelings, watch and think, observing them, not getting caught up in the analysis, observing them. And the point of that is to develop the detached observer where there's some space between what your thoughts and feelings are doing and saying in this skull and body of ours, and being able to have some space where you can then choose how you respond to them, where you minimize impulsive reactions and you maximize considered responses. It's such an amazing skill to have at the best of times, like in our day-to-day life, given how busy we naturally keep ourselves. It's even more important when you have stressful circumstances going on. So being in the midst of New York City, now the epicenter of coronavirus for America, with so many diagnosed cases, all the changes and the guidelines that were happening at that time, in addition to the changes with the speaking event, my metacognitive skills became incredibly important. And my inner strength and centeredness implementation examples were really helping me maintain good metacognitive observation of my own thoughts and feelings. One of the key ones being, I'm just going to be stuck in this hotel room. I flew all this way to New York City, all that money, all that time, all that preparation to come here and end up not being able to go to Broadway, not being able to enjoy the cafes, not being able to book into tours I wanted to do, and not even being able to do this speaking event that turned into a non-person, non-live event, so to speak. All of just observing all of those thoughts and feelings, that my entire purpose for going to New York City and all the investments I'd made financially and otherwise had completely changed within 3 to 4 days. Completely changed. So I was observing all of that and just stopping short of letting the, great, I'm going to be stuck in a hotel room, just stopping short of letting that get the better of me and thinking that that was it, that was the conclusion. I'm stuck in New York City. It's day 7. I'm supposed to be here another 10 days. Great. My New York City trip turned into being stuck in a hotel room, maybe their reception. So I was observing those thoughts going on. Of course, none of that was true. There was no lockdown stated. We were all, at least around me, still being quite mindful of social distancing anyway. It's not like we were breathing on each other or in crowded spaces. New York City streets weren't crowded at that time. So there was already social distancing going on, and there was available food from the restaurants. You just couldn't sit in the restaurants. You had to either pre-order it, pick it up, or have it delivered. Options were still available. We weren't stuck. We weren't deprived. And yet I was able to see that because I could just stay in observation of where my helplessness thoughts, in this case, were taking me. As I wrap up this video, the key point about the metacognitive skill, bringing together all of the three together, the inner strength, the centeredness, and also those observation of my own thoughts and feelings and stopping them from taking a deep dive. The absolute blessing that came out of all of it, which I'm really keen to share with you, as a beautiful outcome of making sense of my purpose of going to New York City, and that it wasn't a lost trip, it wasn't a waste of time, it wasn't a waste of money. It came out of the fact that when the final format change of the event changed to sending in a self-tape video, I recognized pretty quickly at that point that a fair decision that the organizers needed to make in light of the COVID-19 situation instantly took me out of alignment of what my purpose was in delivering this talk that I'd prepared over the last few months. The nature of the talk, the nature of the message was very much aligned and is very much aligned to my soul level strengths, which I'm very conscious of what they are. I know how to work within them, and I continuously keep learning how to keep working in them as I evolve and advance and develop and refine my own self-leadership, which is what Rooftop View Society is all about in helping you do as well. at that point that I could recognize that the final format change was not right for me anymore. I had no issue being able to quite confidently and kindly withdraw myself from the event. I wasn't tempted to think, I put all this money and time into coming here. I'm here now, I may as well just do it, which would have been the easier decision to make at that time. But the blessing that came out of all of this, in terms of my actually being there and making meaning out of the fact that I was there, I've come to realize during my self-quarantine here, that the combination of my metacognitive inner strength and centeredness skills helped me know in that moment that if I proceeded, I would have been taking myself out of alignment to my soul level strengths. Now that was a decision that was just simply right for me. Nothing on the organizers of the event. They had to make decisions that were right for them, and it was absolutely fair enough and understandable in light of the COVID-19 circumstances. It was also right for other speakers to do the self-tape video for their talk. It was not right for me to birth this talk in that manner. And so I had no qualms or doubts or second guessing that it was the right decision for me to simply withdraw, and I've had no regrets since in doing that. By doing that, in the middle of all of this flux in New York City and all of these changes and all these observations of my thoughts and feelings, by actually being able to affirm that for myself and have no second thoughts or regret on it, put me in a much more centered position. And it was at that point of releasing my initial, what I thought was my initial reason for being in New York City, allowing myself to simply surrender that, opened me up to a whole other possibility. Because it was at that point, shortly thereafter, that I realized I'm in the city where one of the key figures that I talk about in my talk, and I'm just going to keep that a mystery for the moment, one of the key figures actually did his genius and his soul level strengths, as I talk about them in my talk, in New York City. That's where he did the bulk of his genius work, and the last 10 years of his life were in a hotel just a few blocks away from where I was staying. And so the beautiful realization that I could birth this talk by actually doing the talk on video for myself in the place where this genius person lived the last 10 years of his life, boom. I just knew I was living in my full expression at that point, and that is part of what got me to New York City. I didn't know it at the time. It may not have occurred that way, but given the circumstances, it obviously did occur in this way. And so I'm very, very excited as I get all of the talk together and I piece it together for you in my filmmaker style. I do filmmaking in addition to this. So this is very much a part of my soul level strengths and the way that I express them. As I bring that short film together for you to share with you and in a manner that is congruent to my soul level strengths and keeps me aligned to how I operate and how this particular signature talk was supposed to birth into the world, I'm very excited to share that with you as the time comes. So I hope all of those examples of how I implemented in a very basic level, metacognitive, inner strength and centeredness skills whilst in the flux and flurry of New York City and all its updates with COVID-19, as well as the changing circumstances of the speaking event I initially went there to do. I hope it's helped you reflect and find means of how you might do these skills in your day-to-day life. I'm more than happy to hear your comments and your feedback on this video. Any questions, of course, feel free to put them in the comments or DM me directly through Instagram or on the YouTube channel, or email me through any of those channels. You'll be able to find my email off rooftopviewsociety.com. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Have a fabulous day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Catch you later.